How's it going, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Pursuing Greatness podcast. I'm your host, Gabe Peterson. This is the place where you can learn how to master your health, your wealth, and your love all in one place. So I hope you look forward to another great episode with another great guest. Before we get started, I do want to remind everybody that the best way to support the show is to simply subscribe, like, and share this episode with your friends. Also, if you want to get more involved with the show, check out our website at pursuinggreatnesspodcast.com. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoy. I hope you have your pen and paper ready to take some notes on some great wisdom coming your way. And I look forward to seeing you guys on the other side of the episode.
All right, and we are live. Today we have with us Dean Ward. Dean is the CEO of 24/7 Health Solutions, and Dean's career has spanned over 40 years in healthcare, so a wide breadth of experience, ranging from behavioral health to managed care to everything in between. So it's a great honor to have you here, Dean. Thank you for showing up on the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. To get everybody started, why don't you tell us, who you are, what you do, and how you got started down that path in the first place?
Sure. I'm CEO of 24/7 Health Solution, one of the co-founders, and we have a healthcare technology platform that includes a smart device, a smartwatch, an app, and then a cloud-based platform that we use to monitor patients with chronic conditions like hypertension, diabetes, those types of things, that we give basically real-time data to their physicians and to the individual patients around their condition. So we can monitor their glucose, monitor their blood pressure, their heart rate, a variety of other things. All through Bluetooth-enabled connection with our app, but we also have the smartwatch that does many of those things. It does blood pressure, heart rate, stress levels, heart rate variability, which is a function or test of health, and then also sleep. And it has the usual fitness functions too, like steps and distance and all that. And a doctor once asked me, does it tell time? I said, yes. And for no extra cost, it also tells the date. So it's a pretty innovative technology that, with the ability, we have an open API platform on our app, so we can integrate other Bluetooth enabled devices to sync with the app. All of that sends it up to a dashboard. That dashboard shows the trends of heart rate, blood pressure, glucose, and whatever things. It could be weight. And that's important because when you go to a physician's office, you're getting just a snapshot.
Yep.
And that snapshot could be based on you were running late, you're stressed, your heart rate's up, your blood pressure's up, you're nervous. They have what they call white coat syndrome. And people get anxious around a physician, so their blood pressure goes up. So this gives a physician and a patient real-time information, day to day, not just at home, but while they're out and about, so that we can see where those things are occurring and what times of the day. And it's really, I think the technology is to the point where you can see a massive increase in heart rate where it goes up to 120. But then you look at their steps and you see that they just did 10,000 steps. They ran, or they, so no reason to be alarmed there, but at least we can coordinate those two things and correlate the incidents. So there's a lot of different things and nuances that you can see in those trends. We also have the ability to do a single lead electrocardiogram, which gives us some additional information.
Awesome. I love it. Really quick before you get on, I'll just ask that you just move your mic a little bit closer to your mouth so we can hear everything that you're saying as we go forward. But I mean, I've loved what you've said so far. It sounds like, so you get this, on the Pursuing Greatness podcast, what we're all about is how to live great lives, how to live better lives. And it sounds like this device that you guys are developing over there, it really has the potential to have a great impact on people's life. In that you'll be able to see, the statistics of your life, of your health in real time, over time, so you can work with doctors to actually, identify the issues that you could be working on. Is that correct?
Yes, yes. It actually engages patients more in their care. They become more conscious of their current condition. They become more proactive. We have integrated into our platform educational information, and we also have a call center that is monitoring them. So when they do see some changes in their health condition, they reach out to them. And that's really based on research that shows when you've done these technology implementation, these new innovative ideas, but when you do it just in and of itself, not only do they lose momentum, but we give them alerts that say your blood pressure's high, your heart rate's high.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
That creates.
So if you're about to have a heart attack or anything like that, I'm sure there's some sort of sign that somebody sitting in the the central command will be able to read and be able to reach out to you proactively.
Right, and that's the difference I think for us is just getting the alert itself is can actually increase depression with heart disease patients because all they're getting is in their mind you did something wrong or you're sick. That's what they're hearing from those messages. Having a person call and be compassionate with them and say, what's going on? Let's make sure your device is working. How are you feeling? And kind of walking them through. It may be just a simple education on how to sync the device or how to properly do your blood pressure. But it also may be that they're not feeling well, and then you can connect them automatically. And our platform allows us to connect them, what we call a warm handoff, which means we're introducing them to the physician. We give them the physician a background on what's going on, and they have a telephone visit, or we can do a telehealth video visit with them as well for the physician. So we're improving access for the patient and expanding access for the physician office, but giving them more real-time assistance so that they can prevent an ER visit, prevent a hospitalization. All of those things are important in any other time. But in 2020, in the reality of 2020, we want to keep them a high-risk patient who can easily get a COVID-19 infection, keep them out of the public and reduce their exposure. So it's improving their health and reducing their overall risk.
I love it. I mean, I remember when I first got, I think it was the Apple Watch was the first fit watch that I got. And I thought it was really cool. And even when I first got that so many years ago, I could tell this is a good direction that technology is going, giving us this real-time data on our own health. And it sounds like, you guys are working on the next evolution of that, that real-time data for health, for improving your health, for knowing what your health, where you stand in your current health status, I suppose.
Yeah, and I too, I've been a runner since I was 13. So I've always been one to look at what's the latest in training techniques and all that. And I've used apps and watches in the past, and in my mind, I was thinking, this is great. I know my pace, I know my heart rate, I know my distance, and I can listen to music.
And it tells the time.
Yeah, and it tells the time. But it struck me that we should be able to do this for people who are sick in a way that gives them real-time information to be able to be more proactive. And I think we're talking about mostly seniors that we work with. And the assumption is, excuse me, that they are not tech savvy. Some are, some aren't, but they admittedly aren't and want to learn. And they'll call our call center and with lots of questions just about the technology and the fact that they're willing to learn and understand it. And when they know something's not right, I think is impressive. They have a very open mind. And many times people are saying, to us, oh, well, they're, elderly and they don't know how to use technology. No. My dad was 95 and he used to FaceTime me all the time. He used the technology. Sometimes the camera would be in his forehead or on his ear, but it was still, he knew how to do it. So I think that I have a lot more faith and confidence that these folks are willing to learn and are benefiting from it. We hear that quite a bit.
Absolutely. My grandma is she's she's shrunk over the years, so I think she may be under 5 feet at this point. But she's turning 95 this year, maybe 96. But she's still, she uses her smartphone. She calls people. She's learning all the time. She always has questions about it. So, obviously there's definitely an interest in learning these type of technologies, as you age as well. So you've had such a long career, 40 years in healthcare. I'm sure there's just a wealth of experience and wisdom that comes after, working at something for 40 years. I know this is kind of a difficult question, but if you could go into, all these different areas that you've been, this really long career, and pull out, what are some of the big lessons that you've learned as you've, gone through the ups and downs of your career?
There was a time when my background and my training is in psychology. I did my graduate work in psychology. And there was a psychologist that I worked with who ran a treatment program for teenagers in Southern California. He offered me a management position. And I said, I like being a therapist. And he said, here's my view on this. The more level of responsibility you get, the more impact you have on a greater amount of people. And that's resonated with me, and it's been something that has stuck with me my entire career. And I think it's humbling in some ways. It's exciting because I know that I can make a difference in not just one person's life, but many people, entire communities. So for me, that really resonated. The other thing, and I've learned this even more recently, is as an executive, especially as a CEO with a startup, things are hectic, and it's exponential right now because of the pandemic. Mm-hmm. And all of the political side of things as well, as you try to sift through the realities of what we're dealing with. And I think it's important for me as a leader to listen more. And I think it was one of the 7 habits, which is listen first and understand. And then be understood. And I find myself pausing to listen and really kind of to, figuratively and literally look around and look at the landscape. And sometimes you'll catch things and you'll hear things that become, valuable, much more important. When we first went live with our services, I worked in the call center here, and I wanted to get a feel for what our patients were thinking and how they were viewing our services and our device and our app. And I had a woman who was 72, sweetest lady, very engaged, loved the idea of what we were doing. And she said, we track sleep, and on our app, we have a graph that shows how much deep sleep, light sleep, and awake time by percentages. And she said, my vision's not so good. Can you make that graph different colors that are more contrasting so I can see the difference? It's such a simple thing, and we did. And it ended up, we changed the entire color palette of our app to be more vibrant. More. And so what I heard was we need to include compassion into how we develop our technology, the app and the functionality, understanding that the people that we are going to give these devices to and that we'll be working with are not programmers. So we have to make it easy. We have to make it user-friendly. But we also have to put it in the context of what they're dealing with.
Absolutely. So, you said two things there. The first one, the more responsibility you have, the more impact you can have. And that is a really big lesson to learn, especially so early in your career. And I love that it sounds like you've taken that through the rest of your career from that point forward, just having with the goal in mind of having the biggest impact as you can on those around you. So that's an awesome thing to hear. And also you mentioned listening more. And I know that came from the 7 Habits. It's a great book, by the way.
Yeah.
I already told you we got a book section, so that might come out at that point. But I love that you brought that up because you're from your guys' perspective, you're listening to your customers and getting using your compassion to understand what it is that they need in the app that you're producing, and also on the leadership side, listening to your teammate, listening to your team and to those above you, to what they're experiencing and what they need from the company in order to produce better results for the client, which is the ultimate goal.
Yeah.
So I love that. I love all of that. Unfortunately, we're running down on the clock. I told you this is going to go quick. It always goes faster than you think. So we're going to go into the quick question round. And this is where I ask you just really quick questions about things, about your career, about you. The first one being about books. You've already mentioned a book. So if you could give 2 recommendations, one for the book that you listen to, for the career that you are in, so healthcare business, and then one on just general wisdom, what would that be?
So the first one on healthcare is Compassionomics. And that really is a great book that really reinforces the need for compassion in healthcare, because there's research based information in there that shows that actually improves patients' outcomes.
Nice. Compassionomics. I'm going to have to check that one out.
Mm-hmm.
How about for the life wisdom?
Leaders eat last.
Leaders eat last. I like it. I just like the title. That's great.
Yes.
All right. So the next question, our lives are underpinned. The foundation of our life is the habits that we have. So if you could point to one habit that you feel has contributed the most to your life, what would that habit be?
If it's a habit, but being humble.
I like it. Being humble. Next one. This one is about your career. And so, you've had 40 years, which is awesome. It's always good to have people with so much experience because you can pass along the lessons you've learned. So that's what this is about. If you could go back to the dean who was, a psychologist who was, didn't have any management experience yet. He was just starting out. And give that dean one piece of advice going forward in his career, what would that piece of advice be?
Wow. Titles aren't everything.
I like that. Titles aren't anything. All right. And why did that one specifically pop up in your mind?
I remember when I first got my first CEO job. It was a startup HMO. And I was so excited because I was a CEO. And I was 38 years old. And I was just like ecstatic. Fast forward 3-4 months, I was miserable. I hated it. It was one of the worst experiences of my life.
Oh, wow.
And I have to admit it. It was a bad choice. I was after the title. And the work itself was not anything. It was not interesting once I got into it. And that portion of healthcare, managed care, ultimately is about, I don't want to sound negative, but at that point it was really about money and saving money. And so it didn't sit well. And so I made a decision to leave. I think I'm pretty happy with that. I learned from it. I learned definitely what I didn't want to do and how to make better decisions around career choices. Again, it was that how does it impact the community? And at that point, there was any impact.
Yeah, I mean, I can even associate with the whole title thing. It's when at the very beginning of my career, I was all about what was the title of the job that I was taking on, but it doesn't really matter. And I love that you kind of brought that up, because you're right. A title is almost nothing. Obviously, it does give you an indication of what the responsibilities will be in the job, but essentially, it really isn't something that you should be looking at. In terms of whether you'll be effective in the role or whether you'll enjoy the role. So I love that you said that. Final question, and this is for the listeners. I'm sure you've given us some great wisdom about health technology, about your career, about how to have a good career. So if somebody wanted to reach out to you and say hi, what would be the best way for them to do that?
They can send me an email. My email address is dean@yesdoctor247.com, or they can look me up on LinkedIn and send me a message there.
All right, sounds good. So if you want to get in contact with Dean, shoot him an email there, or I will also put his LinkedIn in the show notes, so you can click through there to say hi to Dean. Again, Dean, thank you very much for hopping on the show. For everybody who is here today with us, thank you guys for showing up. Couldn't do this without you. And again, the best way to support the show is just to subscribe, like, and share this episode with your friends and family. Other than that, we look forward to seeing everybody on the next episode.
Thanks.
Thank you guys for sticking with us on another episode of the Pursuing Greatness podcast. I hope you got a lot of value out of that guest. Again, the best way to support the show is just to subscribe, like, and share with your friends and family. Also, check out pursuinggreatnesspodcast.com if you want to get more information about what we do and what we offer. I hope you guys have a great day and keep living in integrity with yourselves. And I look forward to seeing you on the next episode coming shortly.